looking at what he said and looking at how we're expecting to see it replicated in the other key industrial subsectors in terms of growing that sector to ensure that it provides jobs and the rest of it. Let's pick up one particular aspect he talked about. The industry has a long gestation period, and so it's not uncommon to see people begin to get agitated. But based on what he said, and based on what we're seeing, and based on what the policy has in store, what are your thoughts, Mr. Obonobi?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like he said, let me take it from when he talked of development plans to be submitted by all the companies involved in it. We have seen plans be submitted. Like Mr. Elliott said, what is there for the implementation of these plans? He comes to say, oh, I have a farm, I've just acquired the land somewhere in Sokoto State. The land is so much acres, and I expect I will generate this much. In 3 years' time, the guy comes to say, look, oh, sorry, our plan had failed because some of the things that we did anticipate has come to play. It's a key issue. What is the plan of the commission to see that this is done? Because you don't just go to acquire land, because what we have seen over time, if you go back to 1992, when we were doing backward integration for the breweries, so many of the breweries acquired lands to farm when we are going back from sorghum to wheat. They acquired lands. What happened to the lands today? They have been abandoned. We have gone back to importation of wheat. So I rather want to see a proactive position to say, look, yes, we have seen these farms come up. The first set of farms will come up in the next 1 year. We have seen, because if we have acquired the land in, let's say, last year, what's the level of plants we have seen growing now? Because we are looking at 2017, because when we need to get there. But one key thing he said, which again, the NRP has quite to say is, look, we are not building people this period. We are building structures that will outlive the system. How those structures will be run is what Mr. Elliott was saying of who will run the structures. Yes, you can build a structure that is very fine. Example we have seen in Nigeria. You build a structure, institutions that are very nice. When the first person who ran it very well leaves, the key thing is the attitude of people. Most times it's not even this case, it's the attitude to deliver it.
So now, in terms of the attitude to make sure that this policy works for every party concerned, let's look at, let me come to you, Mr. Elliott, on this one. Agriculture is very key to development and to help diversify the economy, we all know, and we all see the federal government working towards. Now, in terms of cultivating of this land, of course, we have issues of climate change. We have issues of irrigation and ensuring that this land, after you finish to plant the canes, produces the quantity that you want. So in terms of ensuring that the implementation process is carried along, as well as we're having every party who has invested in sugarcane business gaining something for it, how are we going to look at ensuring that the irrigation process is continued, is done to the extent that nobody loses out on their crops? And then in the event that we have heavy rainfalls, for instance, or dry spells, for instance, how are we going to manage?
The truth is this. There are institutions in the country to take care of shortfalls or unexpected happenings, what we in the oil sector everywhere call force majeure. The point is, again, for instance, the central bank has credit scheme that cares for some shortfalls. But the issue is this, which we are worried about. As we speak, we have a number of institutions. Let me pick the case of the current minister of Agric. He's trying to come up with GMO, genetically modified organism crop. Now, somebody who has interest in agriculture, though he's an architect, came up and said, look, these are some major flashpoints. That this GMO thing has caused a lot of serious bankruptcy for a number of countries. And he came up with facts. Guardian pick it up, debate. And to my greatest worry, the minister replied that this guy is an architect. What business does he have talking about Agric? You see, my worry in this country is the minister is from IIT. He was trained there. Something that is missing is once they're in government or whoever, they don't want to listen to opinions. For instance, when you are talking of ensuring that these people don't lose money due to this problem and that problem, well, Bank of Industry, there. We have Nigerian Agri Bank there. We have CBN taking care of what they call credit scheme to take care of, eventualities. And then when we are talking, I mean, it will bring me back to this industrial revolution. When you are talking of revolution, you are talking of a change of the whole system. A change. But the issue is this. If you are going to change the whole system, people like us who are in the business, for instance, okay, I'm going to use this as an example. When I came out of the oil sector, I set up a big fish farm that cost me almost about 70 million naira. And I started this business. And I got young people there. But it collapsed. Why did it collapse? It collapsed because I went to the institution in charge who could help me, Nigerian Institute of, they are in Victoria Island there for oceanography. I invited them. They can't help me out. You know, in the field, you need experts to assist you. And then you need scheme, like, insurance scheme to support. This is what is going on all over. But let me say this. This revolution we are talking about, if it's going to work, because we're out for a solution, we're not out to keep blaming people. Mr. Busari has just spoken about the structure. And somebody has just mentioned, my colleague here, is about the drivers. What we are advocating is this. It's not only sugar. If right now Nigeria is impatient, we have so many unemployed youths. What we are advocating now is this. For instance, we have Research Institute, we have FIRO, all these are institutions for industrial development. There's need for connectivity between them and the university, the research and the department of universities. They should work together. We are talking of, look, there was just yesterday on your program here, FIRO and Bank of Industry, they had this partnership, but it's not going to work because of political shenanigans, if I should use that word. We are advocating that some of these things you have identified, like you said, they have to be protected. Because, look, climate change, is it predictable? I mean, there are things you can't predict.